Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us for another power-packed show, man. This one is off the charts. I know a lot of people, when you migrate to a different country, sometimes you get yourself on the other side of the law. And today we're going to talk about law. I know it's a very touchy subject, but we often, more than we break the law than we know, because what you don't know, you don't know. So basically today we want to talk about law, what you need to do in case you find yourself in the wrong side, but we're not going to talk about everything. We'll maybe do a chapter 2 or whatever you want to know more. You can actually ask on the comment section. But today we have an amazing young man, a lawyer, sending himself out there. He's doing great things for the community as well. He goes by the name Daniel Ajak. Without further ado, guys, help me welcome Daniel Ajak on the show. Amazing. Thank you so much, Daniel, for creating this time, man. It's lawyers' times are very expensive, and creating your time for us, man, that's so amazing. So we just want to jump straight in. Who's Daniel, maybe by just introduction and maybe a brief history about yourself and to getting where you are now?
Well, actually, to the audience, I by birth I'm Ethiopian because I was born in Ethiopia.
All right.
By blood, I'm South Sudanese, because that's where my parents are from, and then the first 13 years of my life I spent in northern Kenya in a refugee camp called Kakuma. So I'm Kenyan as well. And then obviously I've called Australia home for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's really it's a privilege to be on the show, to be able to speak to the issues in terms of legal issues that we face. As a community, as an African community, and also as a wider community, because those sort of issues not only affect us, they affect the general community.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why I'd set up a practice in the first place, to ensure that we can be there for our people when needed. We don't act. I think probably 80% of our clients would be Anglo-Australian. So it's, but our preference is that if members of our community want to reach out to an African lawyer or someone they can relate to, and then we're there. So we're there to fill that gap.
Wow, amazing. Talk to us about, I love that. We're going to talk about that. And I just want us to understand the background. How was it studying law? Was it a bit, was it difficult? Was it easy? So that someone who's out there looking at you and saying, I want to study law. How was that maybe in Australia? Did you study in Australia first and foremost?
Well, I think, because I grew up in a refugee camp where the Kenyan curriculum, I think it was equivalent to, was sort of similar to like A levels or the English sort of curriculum,
Yeah.
So when I attended primary school in northern Kenya, in Turkana district, I think the work was sort of a really high level. So when I left the camp, I was in grade 5. And when I came here, I had to go to language school to learn English for a year before I then transitioned to state school, where I then completed year 9 and year 10, and then got an academic scholarship to go to an all-boys school, Prince Alfred College in Adelaide, for year 11 and 12. And actually during those sort of first years in Australia in high school, I looked up to my uncle Abraham, who'd sponsored me and my sister to come out to Australia, and he was doing engineering at the time at the University of South Australia, and he'd performed really, I think it would have been in the top 1% when he completed his Kenyan second school certificate. So he'd been sponsored here by the Jesuit Refugee Services to come and do university. So I'd always done maths and science, because I wanted to be an engineer, and after high school I got into mechanical engineering, did that for a year, but it was halfway through my engineering degree, I was like, well, I want to be like my father, back home, yes, we've sort of inherited the common law system, but really for hundreds of years or before the English sort of got that, we've got our own customary laws. And that's how things still sort of practice back home, and that's how things were in the refugee camp where my parents resided. My dad is an elder, So now when you've got issues or tribal issues, you don't, the elders sort of act as your lawyers per se, because they're the one who will advocate, so if there's an internal dispute within the tribe, whether it's family, civil or criminal, and then those elders, preside over the matter, and they'll try to resolve it. So when I switched from engineering to law and commerce, all of a sudden, it wasn't a physics problem or a chemistry problem or a maths problem. You're given sets of facts where I had to use like the English language and English skills to be able to write essays and problem solve, give advice on paper, which is different to doing your differential calculations. So I had to switch up pretty quickly. So, and it was hard. I did a double with commerce, with finance, and I used to keep up my appetite for math, and that was very easy. That was I enjoyed that, and I think that gave me confidence when things are hard in law. At least, at least I had a course where I could really sort of thrive, because of that. You sort of like you've got a definite answer. Well, with lawyers, all three of us can have, or me and you can have two different points of views. It's how persuasive are you? How persuasive is your argument? So there's no right or wrong answer. But can you get the law to fit? Like the facts, or whatever outcome it is that you're trying to achieve, it's sort of getting, it's getting your client and the courts in that journey to get that, and that journey is different for every legal practitioner.
Wow, amazing! And now, how long have you practiced now, and where are your offices, and how is that looking? Before now we go to, the nitty-gritties of law. How many years have you practiced now?
So I was admitted in September 2015. So I've been a lawyer for 9 years, and straight after admission, I went to work at Thompson Gear. They're sort of a top-tier firm with offices across all the major cities, and they do sort of high-end corporate commercial work. So I started off in intellectual property in Adelaide. So I was there for a few months, and I quickly sort of realised, I went to university because I wanted to be like my father, and I had the vision of setting up the law firm from first day of law school, and I said, well, if I go down on this path, yes, I'll make part of the 10 to 12 years, but all my clients are going to be the big four banks, and governments. That's not giving back to the community, Yes, I'll have money to be able to
do stuff,
to give back, but I wanted to sort of be, I wanted to be at the forefront, sort of on the ground, and from there I decided I was going to go into suburban practice, where I could do criminal defence, family law, like employment law, like sort of personal injury, because these are the issues that affected us or newly arrived migrants, and in particular, the Sudanese population. So I ended up in Sydney working with Selwell's Legal. Then I went back to Adelaide and officially moved in February 2017 to Melbourne. So we've got an office here in Footscray. That's where we come alive.
Right at Footscray.
Horn of Africa, or Little Africa. And also we've got an office in Little Collins, and then Adelaide on Perry Street.
Wow.
Wow. So for those of you,
in Adelaide,
and I appear, I appear in all the states, and those of you who might be friends with me on social media, will sort of see me. I travel like every month.
Wow.
So
if you're in other states, please, man, reach out. We'll put the details after, and we're gonna hear about what they practice and what sort of services they have. But now, you sitting there, and now, thank you for pointing out that you actually realize that you're not actually supporting the community, and that's the community you want to support. Now, let's talk about migrants, and especially African communities. What are some of maybe the unique challenges we face in terms of law, and how do you break law even without realizing it? Because sometimes we break the law as migrants, especially the African people, and we're not realizing we're breaking the law. What are some of the challenges that are uniquely to the African people or migrants?
Well, look, we're an emerging community, yeah, and we've probably, well, most of us have been here on average maybe half a decade or 20 years, you know.
Even less, some are 5 years, 8 years.
Yep. So I think information, and we've got there's a big network of lawyers now. So there's an African National Legal Network which is set up, and they sort of operate. There's similar networks set up in other states. So I think part of the issue has been, and even the general population sort of suffer from this, because if you're not educated about your rights, and then it's easy to find yourself, sort of breaking the law, and also if you're not educated about the consequences that sort of follow, then like I'll give you an example where I think migrants or new arrived migrants or Africans, find themselves in problems when they should be safe. For example, if there's allegations of family violence, there's an intervention order put in place. The intervention order says the respondent can't go back to the family home. So I'd like to communicate with the affected family member, whether that's his wife or partner or children. So you're excluded from the family home. I mean, traditionally or through our customs, you'd sit down. These sort of issues are resolved by the family. So you'd sit down with your
elders,
partner, and her family and your family, and then you try to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
So this might happen in the background, and then there's an agreement that's reached, that you're to go back to the house, but the intervention order is active, excludes you, from going to the house. So you might come back to the house thinking, it's all changed, and that the partner has gone to the police, to change the intervention order, but until the court
orders,
until the magistrate, varies that order for you to be able to go back home, you cannot, and a lot of people find themselves, breaching an intervention order as a result of that, and once you breach it, then it's a criminal offence and you're charged, and that can easily or quickly, jeopardise your work, especially if you're a professional or you work in sort of social services,
you have registrations and stuff, so they strike off your registrations.
Well, I mean, you're not necessarily struck off, but say if you're all working with children, then you can get a negative interim notice, and then you're gonna have to deal with that. So that's one example. The other example is that when you interact with police, there's certain things police must do when they interact with you, So before they can, if they've got reasonable suspicion that you've committed an offence or you're about to commit an offence, then they can stop you, and then they can speak to you, before they can search you, they'll have, especially if it's on the road, they're not going to have a warrant unless they show up, unless they've gone to the court, got a warrant and showed up at your house because it's organised crime or something complex, but if it's on the side of the road and they want to look into your car, unless you've given verbal consent, they can't really look into your car, so it's and that's these are your rights, and then also they've got to be able to caution you, so either they want to tell you that you're under arrest, and that anything you say after that will be recorded and can be used against you, and if that hasn't been done and you start talking, and then you risk making admissions, that could that the police have sort of obtained, improperly or illegally without you knowing, and a lot of people get it mixed up, all the time. You're not. There's a common law principle that recognises, that an accused person or me and you can exercise or right to silence, yeah, and that right to silence doesn't. If you choose to exercise that right, yeah, it's not gonna come back to haunt you. It's not something the prosecution could use later in court and say, well, he kept quiet because he did it. Yeah,
Because he didn't speak.
so it's important to sort of know those right, and also to know that you can always speak to your lawyer. Say, yeah, as soon as the police pull up, you say, yeah, I want to speak to my lawyer. I'm not talking to you. Yeah, but in terms of like giving your name, your date of birth, like that's okay. You know, you can give those.
Yeah.
There's no need. Yeah, and the more compliant you are with police or authorities, yeah, the better outcome you'll get. Yeah. But like they're not your friends. Yeah, so it's we're always available. Yeah, you can ring my direct number or the office number, or you can ask if the police can't get a hold of me. Yeah, they can contact legal aid.
Yeah.
So just just to be cautious. Yeah, and there's a lot of time actually when I've had recently, members of the community sort of come to me and it's a bit too late. You know, say for like civil matters. Say for example, if you owe money, and their right to you says their creditor go engages a lawyer, and their right to you says you owe this much money, can you pay within 21 days? And then you ignore it. And then they go to court and file for default judgment. And then they serve you the complaint or the statement of claim, and you have 21 days to file a defense or respond. And then a lot of people ignore it. But then what happens is you ignore all of that, they get a default judgment against you. Once they've got a default judgment, what that means is they can then go issue what's called a bankruptcy notice, which then forces you to either comply and pay the money owed, or if you ignore it, then you've committed an act of bankruptcy, and they can file a creditor's petition to bankrupt you and have all your assets or your property sold. And it's a lot of people leave it ignore. So I think soon you get a letter from a lawyer or anything that involves legal, like ring us or just search if there could be a community legal centre in your area. Google that and go to the local or just Google lawyers in your area, and whoever comes up get legal advice. Always get legal advice. It's so different going to your GP.
Amazing. And I always wanted to ask a lawyer this question, because you're a criminal lawyer. So what is the first thing, let's say you're involved in family violence, especially we're talking about the African migrants, right? Maybe you're caught up in drink and driving, you're caught up in maybe you committed sexual assault and all these things. What is the first thing that you should do actually when maybe when you're caught or even before what is the first thing you should do as a person?
Well, our system operates on the presumption that you presume innocent until proven guilty. And that's huge. That's a common law, principle, Every accused person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So the burden, it's on the prosecution, the police, They've got to do their job. And a lot of time they're lazy and they don't do a proper job, Your job is not to help them. Your job is not to aid them. Your job is not to make admissions. Of course, if you do all of that, then you get a discount, down the track, for early plead guilty, because you've cooperated with authorities, you serve the court's time, you serve the victim, time having to come to court and relive the whole experience, and that could be the difference between you going to jail and staying in the community. It could be the difference between you doing 20 years jail and 10 years jail, between you doing 2 years jail and maybe 2 months or community corrections order. So that's all well and good, but you've got to speak to a lawyer. You've got to get on the phone, and if you get lawyers involved earlier, and then the police start to do the right thing, everyone starts to do the right thing, because what happens is, my first duty is to the court, and then the duty to the client second, So as an officer of the court, there's certain expected off me, so my duty is administration of justice, so I can't be dodgy. I mean, that's a simple word of putting it, and I can't, I've got to make sure everything that I do puts that interest first and then the client's interest, so if you get a lawyer on straight away, then they get on the ball, and it puts the other party on notice, if this is a police matter, then of course the state or the prosecution, that you've taken your matter seriously, and then you're right, I'm going to be, like your right to protect it, because effectively, when you hire a lawyer, you're hiring a mouthpiece for you, so a lot of things you wouldn't get if you're a self-represented litigant, your lawyer can get, I can get access to their police notes, I can get access to the body worn camera footage, not a redacted version, a full version, so if one of the coppers has whacked you, the police aren't going to give you to that, and police aren't going to give, they'll probably not, they'll not give the lawyer that, so but we've got the skill set, to be able to analyse a brief and really, and find gaps where my sense, there hasn't been disclosure there, and maybe that's because it doesn't help the prosecution case, and the police or the prosecution have a duty to disclose things that don't even help them, so not what, so things that, if it's put before a jury or put before a magistrate, the magistrate will be like, well, because the burden of proof is that you committed the offence beyond a reasonable doubt, not on a balance of probabilities, not 70%, not 80, not 99%, but they've got to be 100% certain, 110% certain that, you committed the offence, that the evidence, is so convincing that there could be no other explanation. Soon there's one or two or three other explanations, you're not guilty.
So, what are some, so as we go to the tail end, I want us to talk about consequences, because when you know the consequences of something, and maybe just mention a few, the common ones that maybe Africans are committing, and what are the consequences? What are you looking at? So that people can know not to really try and get into there. So what are some of the consequences of breaking some of the basic laws? Or maybe they might be major, they might be basic, but what are some of the consequences?
Oh, look, criminal law is my specialty. So in terms, for those of you who've been here 20 years, you're probably an Australian citizen, right? So there's no consequence in terms of getting your visa cancelled, all that stuff. But if you're a young person and you got aspirations to become a doctor, engineer, lawyer, businessman, politician, leader, what you can't be,
forget about it.
You're a role model. The expectation of that. If you're committing offences, well, and you're not. And we live in a digital age, so every time, so there's digital footprints everywhere, and you can sort of, you can look, you just got to look at the media and see what's, even those who had a good, some of the things they did 20, 30, 40 years ago, have caught up, even like say with institutional abuse, So the consequence is that, if you commit a
crime,
if you commit allegation, like say for example sexual offence, then you're going to get on the registrar, and if you get on the sexual offender register, it means now you cannot travel out of the country, unless if the chief commissioner gives you permission.
What?
And their reporting obligations, you gotta disclose to the police where you live, all your phone numbers, all your emails, all your social media accounts. Every time you come into contact with a child, you got to disclose that. It's very burdensome. And if you fail, then it's a criminal offence, and there are consequences that follow.
Wow.
So that's one extreme. And then guess what? If your work involves children, well, you can't do that work anymore because you want to have working children. If you work in disability, that's all gone. That's one example. If you commit a dishonest offence like a shop theft, and you want to be an accountant, accountant has to be trusted. If you want to be a lawyer, you got to be trusted. If you want to be a doctor, so you're not going to get into those roles.
Talk about drink and driving. Because some
drink, hold on, we'll get to drink driving, Drink driving, not only are you risking yourself from dying or other road users, yeah, but mandatory loss of license applies to drink driving and speeding, yeah. So you cannot, you just cannot get on the, like, be on the wheel, yeah, when pissed, yeah. It's either you stay there and you sleep the night, or you get an Uber, or you get your girlfriend, your brother, your sister, your wife, come pick you up, someone who's sober, yeah. Because if you get done for drink driving, and yeah, I think 0.5 and upwards, they're mandatory loss of license, and they start from like 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 32 months, yeah. So is it really worth it, yeah? And once you don't have your driving license, well, then it affects your work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's criminal law side of things. And then initially I'll touch on, yeah, if proceedings are commenced against you in a civil matter and you ignore them, then, well, yeah, the consequence is that, yeah, you could be bankrupt and your house could be sold, yeah. So, like, yeah, employment law, yeah, or those who work in factories, if you get injured at work, yeah, you're getting bullied, yeah, or if you have a car accident, yeah, it's a no-fault system. Yeah, you're entitled, yeah, to TAC payments, yeah. Like, so you need to engage a work cover lawyer or a TAC lawyer, yeah, and you'll get paid, yeah, even if you're speeding, yeah, and you cause an injury, yeah, you're entitled to payments, yeah. So, you gotta be, and even like public liability, yeah, when Footscray today,
Yeah.
if you gotta walk out, yeah, and you trip and you get injured, you can sue the city council. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you've gotta really, you've gotta be on the ball. And I think there's a lot of lawyers in the community, not just me and those who at our practice. Yeah, I've got 2 business partners. At Security, Dasio, who's based here with us in Melbourne in Footscray. He'd come from Woodton Carney, where he did insurance litigation, so he's doing defendant work. So he's not doing plaintiff like work. So for those of you who work and they've had an injury or know somebody who might have been injured, he's your man. And then Sifred Mendy, who's Ghanaian, he's based in Adelaide and runs our corporate commercial practice, both in Adelaide and sort of nationally. So if you've got a commercial or contractual dispute, or a shareholder or director's dispute, he's a person to go to, and he does both, back end and front end work. So he'll do the transactional work, which is drafting contracts, and then if you need to litigate, he can do that. But we can't, in Australia, if you don't ask, you don't get. So we can't help you until you reach out, and a lot of problems can be solved, but the quicker you reach out to us, the easier we can, then you're given us ample time to try to get the best possible outcome for you,
Amazing. And maybe what are some, because basically what you're talking about, and also how you're helping within the African community and context, what are some of other resources that someone can be able to go and read and be able to acquit yourself with maybe some of these, laws or maybe, consequences and stuff? And where can we get all this information other than you? And also we'll share all your information, but where else can we get information?
Well, Legal Aid is a good starting point. Legal Aid website, So Legal Aid are probably the biggest criminal law, family law practice, across the country. So you can go to their website. They've always got fact sheets, about, like, say, parenting, custody, property, like civil, discrimination, employment law. So that was a good starting point, And then a community legal centre, and then even like relevant regulatory bodies, like the Law Society or the Law Institute of Victoria. You can ring them, say, this is the issue I've got, and they can refer you, onto to someone who can help you. There's African Australian Legal Network, of course, And
Center is it do the same thing as well?
Well, they can, like, a place like Asylum Seekers Resource Centre, or settlement agencies, can really might be able to put you in touch with the right people, to be able to get that information. So it's really, I think you got to just sort of be proactive in terms, of trying to access information, and just, I think if you ask, if you were to, if I can't help you, I'll definitely know someone who can.
Yeah. Awesome. And maybe what are some of the services you offer here at Ajak&Associates, and what are your maybe contacts, and how can people get reach to you? Because you said ask and reach out. How can people reach out to you?
Well, we're a generalist firm, so we offer commercial, corporate. I've already touched on that. So we've got a partner who heads up Practise in that division. So even like conveyancing, that's done. Within this firm, we've got a thriving community with a lot of people, making the bold move, to acquire their first home. We also help with like litigation, both commercial and civil, including personal injury, public liability insurance, and I'm a criminal lawyer, so I head our criminal law defence practice and family law. So if you need help in that sort of space as well, we can help. And we've got a website. You can check out our website. You can also check out our Instagram page. We're on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You name it, all of it. So it's really, it's so like you can follow us on those pages and connect, and if you message us, we'll be able to respond pretty quickly.
Amazing, and basically what we want to say is thank you so much for giving us this time, and for all my African brothers, if you have any issues out there, please reach out to Daniel, and he's gonna sort you out. He has a law firm here in Adelaide, offices in the city, and he also goes everywhere. So if you're in Adelaide, if you're in Sydney, please reach out. He said, if you ask help, you shall get the help. Don't wait until it's too late. So I'll put all the details down there. But other than that, we want to say thank you so much, Daniel, for this opportunity, and we wish you all the best. And if you have any questions for Daniel, and if there's any specific laws that you want to know, please put them down on the comments below, and I will endeavor to actually get him here for specific questions, because I know some people want to know about family law, about this, conveyancing, all this. So if you have any specific discussion points, please put them on the comments below. But other than that, I want to say thank you for watching this amazing show, and I want to say thank you so much, Daniel. If you had any final words, final remarks.
And I mean, and to the audience, it's not about just sort of reaching out for services. If you've got a young person out there, or a friend or a colleague, who's in the law, who's trying to find a foot in the door, and needs help, to guided mentor, they can reach out, to myself and my staff, and I should be able to help. And if I can't help, I definitely know someone, who can, and even those of you, who might be practicing lawyers, and want to go on their journey of setting up their own practice, also reach out as well,
Amazing. I'm not going to mention names, but I know a few, so you know yourselves, especially those who are studying law right now, and also those who are starting out and want to start their own law firms. Please reach out to Daniel. There's mentorship, man. Other than services, there's mentorship as well, and we want to say thank you for that, and I'm sure my audience will be amazed and happy to hear that. But other than that, thank you so much, Daniel.
Maybe next show on Swahili,
We shall see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.